All right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast, NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish, and I'm joined by my buddy through the miracle of computer phone. I'm here with John Burr. John, how's it going?
I live still through thick and thin. It's going like this. I'm watching my least favorite player, maybe of all time now, scream at a bunch of Memphis Hustle players that they are an embarrassment.
So the through line of this season, and one of the hysterical through lines of 9 seasons, now our 10th season of Fast Break Breakfast, is Marcus Smart has always been your least favorite player.
Yes.
We started the show 9 years ago. He was your least favorite player. Now we're dealing with a team we expected to be pretty good and competitive, be horrible, and you're watching your favorite team be horrible while your least favorite player of all time exhorts them to be less horrible. He's like, hey, you shouldn't be getting NBA minutes, but it's an embarrassment how you're playing. Hey, you weren't on the team 2 weeks ago. You weren't in the NBA 2 weeks ago. You need to do a better job.
Hey, you're the shortest player in the NBA. Play taller. It's true darkest timeline stuff. Like, I kind of can't believe it's happening to me. It's one of those glitches in the Matrix things where it's like, this can't be real. I'm dreaming. I have no mouth, but I must scream.
It all falls apart so quickly. I don't think Marcus Smart's sideline, your bleeping embarrassing speech would have gotten as much playtime if there'd been more than 200 people in the arena. I think maybe if there was a drum line playing.
If you couldn't actually hear every syllable of what he was saying.
Yeah. It's it's a tough look.
You've got Anthony Edwards talking about how Memphis is a tomb. It's not good.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
I need to roll away the stone.
Jaw's gonna roll away the stone. Listen, the groundwork has been laid for the greatest sports movie ever.
Yes.
The Jaw 1 marketing campaign, the Netflix original movie that's going to come out in the next year.
It is
all the groundwork has been laid.
It is much easier, Keith, for you to convince me that Taylor Jenkins is doing that and trying to build to some majestic story than for you to convince me that he is as bad at coaching as he has become.
I love this.
Much easier.
My weakness, my crutch as a basketball fan and podcaster is I am kind of loath and hesitant to blame coaches and referees. I'm just like, whatever. It's all players. I'm going to say crutch is always first thing. Go for the coach's throat. John, if you were coaching the Memphis Grizzlies, what's the first change you would make?
I would fire myself, Taylor Jenkins.
I would retire
immediately.
I would say I didn't sign up for this.
I mean, I know it's a good gag, but I don't think it's a gag right now. I mean, I think most people would be fired. All people would be fired. I think we're beyond the pale.
I'm ready. Who is he supposed to put in the game? Jake LaRavia.
Vince Williams, baby.
Jake LaRavia scratched his cornea so he wouldn't have to play. They're like, hey man, you're next up tonight. He's like, oh man, I think I hurt my eye in the shower or something. No, the Grizzlies have all these hardship exceptions. We signed Jalen Noel. I realized while podcasting yesterday on Grits and Grinds, I didn't know how to say his name. I was like, what is it, Noel or Noel?
The first Noel. It's the first Noel.
Anyways,
John, I guess we should not talk about the Grizzlies. There's nothing to discuss.
How we started last week. It's just it's all bad. There's other bad.
We don't have a Grizz
Here's
epitaph.
The thing.
We have
They're the worst. They're like, in my mind, they're the worst team in the NBA, but they're not. Somehow the Spurs, Pistons, and Wizards exist.
We'll get to the Spurs.
Okay, we'll get to the Pistons too.
We'll get to the Wizards.
Let's get to all of them.
This is gonna be dire, folks.
Let's come up in a second. We haven't even bantered. John, we're supposed to banter.
I'm ill and old. I've got my George Smiley glasses on. I can't banter at this hour.
Can I tell you about my Black Friday, Cyber Monday film adventure?
Yes.
I took my children. You you're an auteur, I'll say it. And also, you love the movies. You go to the movies all the time. I'm jealous frequently of the number of movies you get to see in the theater. I love going to the theater, but I don't. Here's the 4 movies I've seen in the theater since Rudy Gobert shut down the NBA for COVID.
Okay.
Super Mario Brothers.
Oops.
Mission Impossible, whatever the last one's called.
Ooh, yeah.
Oppenheimer.
Oh, class.
And now Trolls Band Together. John, that's the 3rd installment of the Trolls franchise.
I was unaware of this franchise. I knew about Troll 2.
Yeah, it's not related to Troll or Troll 2. Or it's not related to Troll Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
What's the one? Also, there's the old Troll. Isn't there an old horror Trolls? But there also was like a newer Troll that was like on Netflix for a while. Or am I making up things now? Am I doing a Shazam Shaq movie that didn't exist?
Who he play for? I don't know. I'm more of an orc or gremlins type guy, I think.
So I'm going to see Trolls 3, which is called Trolls Band Together. I haven't seen Trolls 1 or 2. Sitting in the theater during 20 minutes of commercials, I start reading the Wikipedia for Trolls 1. The Trolls 1 plot.
You had to get your story straight.
I didn't want to be lost. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
Trolls 1 plot line, horrifying. It's like the trolls are this fun little musical group of cute cartoon characters who are getting eaten by these other people, and someone's grandmother gets eaten, and they all have to live underground. They just want to have raves, apparently. And I'm like reading this, and the plot summary, very long. Like, it's like, I don't know how it didn't get edited down anyway. So I'm like, I don't know about, first of all, I'm like, my children have been watching this. I just thought it was a Justin Timberlake song that I knew pretty well. Anyways, I'm watching Troll 3. My expectations are very low. I sat through all of Trolls Band Together, basically in awe, in a good way, of the visuals. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I don't do drugs, but I think this is supposed to be an acid trip. And like, it's not, there's honestly, if you want to get to the parental, what's the parental group that gets mad about content in children's films? I would say,
Stepford Wives.
Yeah. For Tipper Gore, I would say, nonstop, subtle drug and sex jokes, but in such a way that I don't think a 10-year-old would get them. So who cares? But the visuals, just looking at the weird trolls on screen, like their faces are kind of fuzzy. And I was like, this is amazing. Technology is brilliant. Going to the movies is awesome. So that right there carried me through the 90-minute runtime where I was like, that was fine. Like, I'll give it a thumbs up. I'm a simple person. Just show me bright colors, apparently, and then add like a medley of disco pop songs. Yeah, that's that's a solid outing. Have I convinced you that you should go experience it sight unseen?
I applaud the effort. Not unlike a Jordan Poole pump fake. You got me up. You got me in the air.
Yeah.
Then you lingered too long and tried to shoot it underhand and got your shot blocked into the stands.
Yeah. I will say the one thing, not only not understanding the full plot points. After the movie was over, I was asking my kids, I'm like, hey, was that character in the previous 2 movies? And they were like, no. I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, was that thing, was the bad guy? Like, no. So apparently I think it might stand alone a little bit. There was a very funny throwaway joke to, there's like a serious plot moment and they're like, and then our grandmother was eaten. And I knew that because I read the Wikipedia, and one of the new characters goes, our grandmother was eaten. I was the only person in the theater who laughed. If I hadn't read the Wikipedia, I wouldn't laugh right then. None of the kids laughed. None of the other families laughed. So, but I thought it was a funny joke. I was going to wrap this into something else, but now I'm lost. Oh no. One thing I understood, one thing that I understood watching the movie that I was missing out on, not because I hadn't seen the first 2 Troll movies, but because I'm just oblivious to pop music. They were making nonstop boy band jokes and I knew it, but I didn't get them. They kept like shoehorning around. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's a famous lyric. That's what I kept saying. And because they was like winking at the camera, like, grown-ups, this is for you. And I felt I was like, I acknowledge you're making a reference, And much like back in the day when Chuck would make a rap reference, I'm just going to laugh. When you make a wrestling reference, I'm just going to laugh and move on. Don't know what it means.
Right.
I assume the audience gets it. All right. I feel like that was a perfunctory amount of banter. John, what is your... Like I'm putting down a lot.
Makes you feel better. Chuck's moved on from rap references.
I'm not getting a lot of audio coming from you.
Sorry, your voice was very garbled, so I had to kind of decipher.
Well, I think we might be having some technical difficulties again. I'll ask you straightforward questions and let you cook. John, we start every show with our breakfasts. What breakfast have you had today?
Had to do the McGaw's triple donut. A little under the weather. Only got through 1.5. Disgustedly and self-loathingly threw the other 1.5 in the garbage.
Oh no!
But mighty fine. Took my Dayquil with said donuts. Starting to get my Trolls 2 psychedelic experience going. I'm ready to talk about the depths and direness of the NBA right now. It's a world of extremes for me. I'm only seeing the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. I couldn't even tell you which teams are just okay, but I can certainly tell you which teams are scraping the bottom of the barrel or clutching at the sunlight strands up above.
Let's play a game. If we say good, bad, or just okay.
Okay, I'm not going to be good at this, but this will be fun.
I'd just love to get your impression. Let's say there's no right or actually there are actually extremely right or wrong answers. Indiana Pacers.
So I know that the offense is historic, but I also know that the defense is putrid. I'm going to say they are hovering around 500, 8 or 9 wins.
No, they're a little bit over. Whether I think they're 9-7, but
yeah,
9-6. So they're. I would say they're just okay.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I feel like they're lost to the Trailblazers. Trailblazers second night of a back-to-back after blowing a 26-point lead against their new nemesis Dame Lillard. Somehow the Trailblazers win this game on the road. Impressive. One of a handful of embarrassing home losses for teams on Tuesday night. Good, bad, or just okay. The Bulls.
Putrid.
Yeah, they're horrible. Good. All right, that was a test. That was a test, making sure you're paying attention. Good, Putrid. Bad, just okay. The Kings.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, they're good. I think they're good.
Yeah, the Kings are. We'll get to the Kings. The Kings are like
Kings. Pacers.
I'm toying.
Oh, here we go.
I'm toying with new teams.
Yeah, to
get me through this trudge toward Jabalon, the Jonasons, and the Kings are definitely like maybe going to win. It's basically between them and one other team. So
Sabonis and Halliburton both on 9-6 teams. I think Pacers. I think Kings are good. How about the Warriors?
That's a great one because I'm going to say they're blah.
Kind of. I mean, they're under 500, but like I still always think they're good. But who knows if they're good or not?
Yeah, the Warriors are like you can't quit them.
Of course, Draymond hasn't been playing. Draymond said he does not regret choking Rudy Gobert.
What a cool guy. What a fun guy.
What about your Atlanta Hawks?
Okay, so I know the Atlanta Hawks are like a 500 team, but I think they are good.
So, like, I feel like in previous seasons, I've been swayed by the Hawks. I'm like, hey, they're pretty good. And you're just like, they're 500. They're just always 500.
They always win like 44 games. That's true.
Yeah. So, like,
but until this Jalen Johnson injury, which that is a big deal.
That was the worst. That could have been a cream of wheat. He's amazing.
That is a big deal. I secretly watched tons of Hawks.
Yeah.
Watched Hawks this morning.
Yeah.
They really were rounding into something different.
Yeah.
Especially, you're not going to believe this. Trae Young is improving on defense. He is trying. I don't know if Quinn Snyder can make this happen, but he is trying. I've never seen him even try.
Quinn Snyder came out after that game where like 300 points were scored.
Yeah.
And was like, I wish more people would notice how good Trae Young's been on defense this year. And that's like, Quinn, that's a fun time to say this.
I didn't know about this. I came to this of my own volition from this morning.
Okay.
There were plays that Trae used to literally never make any, like there was not attempts to go through screens. Period.
Yeah.
None. He is trying to go through them. That has never happened in the history of Hawks basketball with Trae Young. He has never tried to go through a screen. Also, he has never, when they do the half court traps and the like, he's never participated in those. Has participated in them willingly this year.
Well, there you go.
That's different. That's different. And then also, just their roster is it. You know what I mean? Like the fact that Jalen Johnson goes down and we're just going to get DeAndre Hunter heaters for a while, and don't laugh at me, but Eastern Conference Player of the Week Sadiq Bey is right there to step in.
Yeah.
Like they can do things that us as Grizzlies fans can only dream of.
Well, of course. We have 2 players. How about last one? How about the Nets?
Oh, we can play this game forever. Are you sure? I'm going to say the Nets are bad because I've never thought the Nets were good.
I can't like the Nets. I don't know what to make out of them. Like they just won. Who do they beat? They beat like someone that surprised me a couple times in a row. And then the Nets are 500. So like,
oh wow, okay,
yeah,
better than I thought.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of the Nets at all. And like they're playing like Lonnie Walker is just going nuts for them.
I'm seeing like YouTube videos like has Lonnie Walker been activated?
He has. He was signed for the minimum, right? Just I keep seeing all these guys are signed for the minimum who can score.
There's nothing like a good YouTube what's the word I'm looking for? Thumbnail where it's like some white dude making a distorted face screaming about Lonnie Walker trying to get somebody to click desperately.
Yeah.
Oh, what trying time.
So the Nets beat the shorthanded Heat. They beat the Bulls. Maybe that's not impressive. Maybe I'm just on alert whenever the Nets win 2 in a row. I was like, whoa, didn't expect that. All right, let's move. You told me
I'm not ready for the game to end.
I got to get to my breakfast. We got to get going.
We didn't even do Charlotte.
Charlotte's bad. Okay,
dude, Charlotte's finished now.
Yeah. How long is Ish Smith going to be their starting point guard? What's the LaMelo Ball injury news? I don't know. I honestly don't know it.
I think at least 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's not very. They were bad with him. My breakfast for I think the 5th day in a row, I had leftover pumpkin cheesecake. We made a whole one. It was
5.
Great.
That needs to replace 5 golden rings as some sort of 12 days of Christmas thing at this point.
So like I'm on on Monday, I was on like the 4th day of eating it as leftovers. And like my wife doesn't love sweets, but like she likes cheesecake and she made this. So I'm like, hey, do you want me to save you some of this? And she's like, no, it didn't cook quite right. And then I was kind of like, what do you mean? She's like, well, I don't think I cooked it long enough. And I was like, wait, I've been eating this for 4 straight days. Is it unhealthy? Like, is this uncooked? She's like, no. You won't be sick. I mean, not, otherwise than you would normally be sick from eating 5-day-old cheesecake. It's just like, no, it's not dangerous for you. Also, by the way, in Keith's wife news, I asked her about the Shams Charania report about CJ McCollum's small collapsed lung.
Okay.
Because like he was out with a small collapsed lung, and I'm like, wait, do we have small lungs? Is that a small collapse of the lung? What does that mean? And then
part of my lung. And
then Shams put it back out there, like, here's the news of CJ McCollum's return from the small collapsed lung. She said that makes no sense. She said that's not a medical term. You wouldn't say anyone has a small collapsed lung.
Is it kind of like when they say like minor concussion?
Oh, I don't know. Can we have those?
I don't think so. I think you're either concussed or
I think
you're
a minor concussion is when a guy working in the coal mines
yes, yeah, there we
bumps
go.
his head
when he didn't hear the canary no mo.
That's right. No, she said maybe that could mean there's like one of the sacs in your lungs is not quite right or something. But she's like, that's not anything they would say in the. She's a nurse. She's like, that isn't anything they would say in the medical field. So, anyways, that was my breakfast. All right, after our breakfast.
So have nurses fully replaced doctors? Like, can I see a doctor anymore? Because
do you want to?
Yeah, I need to. Like, I'm like dealing with some health issues, and I'm trying desperately to get to see a doctor, and I just keep seeing. And I really like my nurse that I have, and I think she's a certain kind of nurse. Like they have like letters next to their names, like she's or something.
Well, she's a nurse. Is she a nurse practitioner or a?
But what do I have? Like, how ill do I have to be to get beyond the nurse?
Here, no. Here's the thing.
Okay.
This is not from my wife. This is from me. The difference between, I don't see how many of our listeners we can turn off. The difference between doctors and nurse practitioners, ego.
Oh, wow.
That's about it. Like,
wow. I like it.
Yeah. If you're seeing a nurse practitioner, you're fine.
I was with a doctor at my family practitioner for a long time.
Yep.
I prefer this nurse.
Yeah.
And she seems to know more, or at least care more.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm seeing doctors anymore. I think I've been aged out of the doctor sphere.
All right. Those were our breakfast. Now, after our breakfast, we move to our breakfast in bed apologies. So this is our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong on a previous episode. It's where we really try to hone in and actually talk about the NBA, which the show is supposed to be about. John, is there anything that you would like to make right that you got wrong on a previous episode?
Besides apologizing for adding Ish Smith while you were speaking during that last segment,
do what you got to do.
Fantasy teams.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to apologize for not realizing, I defended James Harden for too long.
Okay.
Seeing the result, the pure bliss, the beauty of basketball, the Sixers are playing sans Harden. It's just one of those things where it's like, it doesn't matter if he scored 40 points in the playoffs. It doesn't matter that he had all NBA numbers last year. That guy sucks. He sucks. He makes the team suck. That guy sucks.
Not fun to be around.
You don't want him. And now watching what's happening on the Clippers, that guy sucks.
I can't get over the Clippers.
That I was the last Harden denier, the Peter and the Wolf situation here. I'm sorry. I will play the magic flute no longer. The Sixers have been released. Joel Embiid has like 5 assists a game and is throwing passes.
6 assists a game. He's posting triple doubles in historic wins over LeBron James and the Lakers.
I mean, he's going to win MVP again, maybe. I mean, it's outrageous.
No one's ever voting him MVP again.
You're probably right. I mean, you can't vote Jokic this year. I guess you can.
No, I can't get over the Clippers just destroying the Mavericks and being like, oh, we've turned the corner, and then doing what they did on Monday night.
Should any win against the Mavericks count because the Mavericks are a one-player team? And if he has a bad game, they can't win.
Maybe so. My apology. For our apologies, the way I like to do it, my favorite thing is finding a factual error. A lot of times if I can't think of an apology, like, oh, that was definitely a mistake, or someone pointed out in our Slack channel on our fact, people are like, hey, this is a mistake. I go back and listen to last week's episode knowing I'm going to find an error. Just it's the way we work. A lot of times I speak in hyperbole. I just throw vague impressions of numbers out, and that's where I come up with my apology. So I'm listening back to last week's episode, and I hear me going on and on about Monty Williams. And I throw out this huge number. I'm like, Monty Williams, he's owed like $80 million. And the way I said it, I'm like, I'm just exaggerating. I'm like, and then I was thinking in my head, like, nah, he's like 12 million a year, maybe 5 or 6 years. So that's my apology. I'll do that. And then I'm like, no. He's owed $78.5 million. So I don't have an apology on this episode. I would just like to reemphasize that Monty Williams is making $78.5 million for the longest losing streak potentially in Pistons history. We're talking like 75 years.
They got people talking about trading Cade Cunningham. It's bad.
Cade Cunningham hasn't shot over 50% in a game this season. Pistons are going for 15 straight losses. They got blown out by the Wizards,
yes,
which was like, I mean, only the Grizzlies have been blown out by the Wizards.
Oh, why'd you do
it? This Pistons team, I don't understand how they stink this bad.
They have fun guys.
They have guys.
They also have 3 lotto busts, I guess.
I was thinking, so the Grizzlies and Pistons together have won 5 games. And I feel like if you split the teams up, you could make 2 winning teams out of them.
No.
I like you could make one awesome team
Can't make two though.
Yeah, with the injured players, it's hard. If you're only counting the actual healthy players, I don't think John Conchar is going to help the Pistons.
Nope.
But
and the teams kind of don't line up either. Like they both kind of suck at the same things.
I feel like the Pistons have so many bigs though, and the Grizzlies don't have bigs. That matches up for me.
Yeah, but one of the Grizzlies' only two good players is a big.
But like, I would rather see Jaren Jackson Jr. playing alongside Marvin Bagley or even Isaiah Stewart than any of the things the Grizzlies are going to do this season.
Got to move on.
What if can we trade Marcus Smart for Marvin Bagley?
Wow. Yes.
Can
we get a draft pick back?
I
don't have any, do they?
We got a salary dump Marcus Smart.
Oh my God.
No, I'm kidding. He's here for the long haul, John. He's got a lot of speeches to give for the rest of the year.
Such a painful experience.
Those were our apologies. Before we move to our steak and eggs, best thing. Just want to tell you guys about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is a great way to play fantasy sports for cash. I like doing the higher or lowers. I've been having lots of fun doing that for NFL and NBA games. You can also play in small private daily fantasy drafts with your friends. If you want to do that with me or with John, we'll sign up using the promo code FBBF or by clicking the link in this episode's description. If you use that link, Underdog will match your opening deposit up to $100 and give you a free higher or lower pick to kick things off. So if you want to play Underdog Fantasy, play some fantasy sports in a unique way for cash, do that. Underdog Fantasy, use that promo code FBBF. All right, John. Steak and eggs, best thing. What's the best thing you saw in the last week? I can't hear you.
We alluded to it earlier, but have you touched any of that sweet Kongs basketball?
I mean, I've watched some Sacramento Kings. What would you like to emphasize?
Did you see a moment where against the, I think, top of the West, Minnesota Timberwolves, Mike Brown ran the same offensive set 17 consecutive times?
Yeah, that's good.
Just spamming it like in Tecmo Bowl or Madden. I wonder if he was calling it out loud as he called the play. It's horns again.
Yeah, so that was a funny story where he said after the game, like he's like railing on their defense at halftime. He's like, we got to guard more. And Sabonis is just sitting there like, hey, how about that play we worked on? And like Sabonis just he didn't want to do defense. He wants to run the play they worked on. He's like, all right, great, we'll run that play. And then they did over and over. I've also it was a big time rest disadvantage game for the Timberwolves. I will argue in defense.
Nobody said anything bad about the Timberwolves. They're number one. Mike Conley maybe Mike Conley only sucks after back-to-backs, but they had no answer for De'Aaron Fox, especially. And it's not just De'Aaron Fox, though. If you pull up, I mean, you can just type Kings into your Twitter search bar and you'll find multiple clips that resemble, back in the day, we used to send those Spurs clips to each other with subtext like the beautiful game and stuff like that. Yeah. Kings are doing that all night long. And it's tons of fun. And they just have, and the secret sauce is just everyone can pass. I mean, they have lineups where Kevin Huerter will be their like worst passer on the floor. They're just a lot of fun to watch. And between them and this kind of new look Sixers team, it's kind of keeping my hopes alive. Because if you're a real Nuggets head, and I think we're real Nuggets heads on this show, we're going through the yearly Nuggets not trying hangover.
Well, there's no Jamal Murray, and it's like they're on a road trip. Yeah, they're
still destroying teams while playing none of their players, but it's also like this isn't the time to watch the Nuggets right now. It just isn't. This is when they kind of take it off. So you got to find your dubs, and I don't mean the Warriors. And for me right now, it's the Kongs and the Sixers are playing. I mean, Maxi's unbelievable. Embiid has unlocked a new level to his game. D'Anthony Melton in the starting lineup is preposterously awesome. Sorry, but there are some really fun teams to to get excited about. I would say for me, the Kings are number one on that list as far as like just being very pleasant to watch, and then also just damned good.
Well, it also helps when you have like an all NBA level super athletic point guard who can get to the rim whenever he wants and is available and not suspended by the league.
I mean,
De'Aaron Fox is incredible. He's been so good. Kings have played 5 home games. So like they haven't even been able to like the beam that much. I mean, they won 9 times. They've only played 5 home games. That's the fewest in the NBA, tied with the Heat. The Heat and Kings, both 3 games over 500, both have only played 5 home games. So like they have a bunch of stocked up wins coming their way. I can't get over the Heat. Like
the Heat are like awesome.
Jaime Jaquez is incredible as far as like you need a 4th guy, a 4th or 5th starter just to be there, do awesome stuff the whole time.
I was going to tell you, Chuck doesn't make rap references anymore. He just makes Jaime Jaquez references. That's what all his texts to me are about.
Yeah. Here's my best thing. You talked about how, you don't need to watch the Nuggets right now because like they're just going through the motions.
Except for last night.
Except for on Monday night when the Clippers revenge party went off. This entire Nuggets thing. So on Sunday, they played the Spurs and like Jokic 100% was told before the game, or he knew, hey, you're playing tonight, you're not playing tomorrow. And so I think Jokic, not knowing he didn't have to play on Monday, he's like, oh, well, I'm going to be amazing today. And he the Spurs are Pop's an embarrassment. More on that on my worst thing.
Oh yes, we can't wait.
National embarrassment, Gregg Popovich. Now the Spurs are horrible, and their defense with Wemby is inexcusable. Like they have a guy who could guard one side of the court by himself, I think. Anyways, Jokic just like whatever had like I don't remember the stat line, 37 and 20, and like was just playing with Wemby. But the next night, it's night off. No Aaron Gordon. Of course, Jamal Murray's been out with the injury. No Nikola Jokic. They're playing a Clippers team, like we said, coming off a great win over the Mavericks. Clippers team had been starting to win some. Finally was like, all right, I get it. You got Daniel Tice. You picked him up for free. Terrence Mann back in the starting lineup. Westbrook has did I'll come off the bench, coach. All that stuff. And somehow, Reggie Jackson, former Clipper, scores 35 points, has 13 assists, and DeAndre Jordan, this is more shocking, right?
Yes,
DeAndre Jordan.
I forgot he was in the league, so.
18 points, 13 rebounds, and was it 5 assists? That's an unbelievable stat line. I guess I could pull up the actual box score. I could not believe the Clippers found a way to lose to a Reggie Jackson was just cooking them. It was.
I don't know if you saw hunting. He was hunting people in switches, and you know who he was hunting because we already talked about him.
I couldn't. I didn't know. It's a great reminder, I guess, that like if you're an NBA player, like these 35-year-old NBA players, if you give them 4 months off, man, they can go off one game. Like DeAndre Jordan was unreal. Everyone's pulling out their Jokic is a system player jokes. I mean, it was a special performance from those guys. Also, the Clippers went to hack a DeAndre. I feel like at this point, basically in like the life cycle of the league, I would not, if I'm a player on a team, I'm not doing hack at anybody. It's humiliating. I think it's humiliating. It's like, hey, we're getting creamed by a 35-year-old DeAndre Jordan, a guy who doesn't play in like 95% of the games. The fact that we have to, like, I would rather lose by 10 points than go to the hack a thing just to avoid that humiliation. Maybe I don't have that dog in me where I'm like, maybe I won't take a charge to win a game. I'm like, nope, I'd rather do it my way. I couldn't believe that. But kudos to Reggie Jackson. Kudos to DeAndre Jordan with like at one point, Reggie Jackson was 14 out of 16 from the field. That's incredible.
Wow.
Like I didn't know he could do that. That was
I gotta say I loved getting League Pass alert Reggie Jackson.
Yeah. Also, I mean, Justin Holiday started this game. They started the oldest players. This is a game where their regular starters, I mean, Reggie Jackson's been starting because of Jamal Murray's injury, but like Michael Porter Jr. and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope were 6 for 27 from the field. And somehow they win because Reggie Jackson, I don't know who did he turn into? Like Kevin Johnson turned into De'Aaron Fox. I mean, it was an unreal loss.
Turned into playoff Reggie Jackson
by the Clippers. Anyways, that was my best thing.
Who's that guy who used to, is it Cole Zwicker who used to come on the show and talk about
James
Reggie
Herbert? Cole Zwicker works for the Rockets.
Okay,
he's built himself a contender.
He's the villain.
Those were our best things. The opposite of our steak and eggs best thing is our cream of wheat. Worst thing, John, what's the worst thing you saw last week?
I mean, where would you like to begin?
You can't do Grizzlies again.
I'm not.
Okay.
I honestly, for me, it's LaMelo going out for the Hornets, while deserved karmically, is pretty much, they were already, I think, 5-13, 5. No, they're strangely like 5-10, right? Like played like 3 less games than everyone. All the games are completely insane to me from the smorgasbord of tournament games, etc. So I don't know why so many teams have played so many different numbers of games, but if you saw the injury, it's one of those injuries where it's like, not only is he going to be out, it's an ankle injury, which he struggled with him in the past. And you wonder, what does this mean? Like when he comes back, where are they going to be? Does this mean it will be Miles Bridges' team when he comes back? Like everything about this injury depresses me. Like, you know, it opens the door for a different type of identity. It's a depressing injury. Why couldn't Miles Bridges have gotten hurt? Why couldn't the right guy get hurt for once? The Hornets, to me, were a team I thought could contend to be maybe a division winner here, and it looks like that's not going to happen.
I'm just going to take a soundbite of you saying the Hornets could be a team that could contend and just cut it off right there.
Yes, please. Well, I thought they would be good.
Yeah, I thought they would win over 30 games. No, I don't think so. Yeah. My worst thing is Gregg Popovich and the embarrassing attempt at a defense he's have his team playing. One, but two,
yeah,
it's Gregg Popovich in the middle of a game grabbing the microphone, making an announcement, addressing the fans to stop booing Kawhi Leonard. First of all, I don't boo, I think, because I'm a grown-up. But some people like to boo, I guess. I don't do it.
I love to lustily boo.
But the worst part about it is like Popovich saying, this is not who we are. Pull your head. Let's out of the ground. This is not who is. I mean, this is like politicians being like to the people storming the Capitol. This is not who we are. What?
That's the only fun that those fans were getting to have.
I mean,
he deprived them of the only fun they had remaining.
This is literally who everyone is.
Yeah.
Like, Popovich, you've worked in sports for your entire life, and you're like, these sports fans are booing. This is not who we are. What are you talking about? That's 100% who all sports fans are. It's what we all are. Like, we all go nuts at the games. We boo stuff for fun. We boo stuff when we're mad. We don't boo Josh Giddey when he gets announced in the opening lineup. We don't boo Miles Bridges when he's announced in the opening lineup. But when Kawhi Leonard comes back to town, you boo him. It's fun. So I thought the only
thing that Spurs fans got, really.
I agree with Pop. What I'm like, I wish, what is it? No, you go ahead. Oh.
I mean, he's clearly trying to, everyone's trying to replicate that Sam Weish moment. You know, the
coach of the Bengals?
We're not in Cleveland. You better have something teed up, Pop. You better have a line teed up that at least makes this fun. Like, you have to set it up. You can stop the booing. Yeah. Then you have to give them something to cheer for. You can't just be like, hey, you suck. P.S. You suck.
I mean, I agreed with Pop. I wish the people weren't booing. I have been in places where I'm like, I wish the crowd wasn't doing that. Like, I wish the crowd wasn't booing. I wish the crowd wasn't doing the wave. I wish the crowd wasn't
at
like,
least
hey,
booing is a sign of respect for the other player.
I wish the crowd wasn't chanting overrated. Like if you're a basketball team, your college basketball team, and we upset the 20th ranked team in the nation, and you're chanting overrated, you're like, that's embarrassing for us. Because we should be able to beat the 20th ranked team at home. Chanting overrated makes it sound like we're terrible. So I never understood the chanting overrated, but to act like these are not our fans. Yes, they are. They're everybody's fans. I'm sad to see Pop go out like this. Also, then you have Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr weighs in.
Dude.
Steve Kerr says, I don't think you should boo anyone who helps your franchise win a championship. Steve Kerr is such a hypocrite. Dylan Brooks helped the Warriors win a championship, and he 100% supports booing him. I hate Steve Kerr.
Me too.
Steve Kerr came to my home, I would boo him. That's what I would do.
Brenda Warner ass.
I would chant overrated in his face.
Steve Kerr, Ellen DeGeneres, Brenda Warner, and Bill Simmons all walk into a room. Who they play for?
Show me your record when Steph Curry doesn't play. Steve Kerr. Anyways, those were our worst things.
If you just fire all these coaches, we don't have these problems, Keith.
I don't think the coaches do that much. That's all.
Just fire them all. You definitely.
I think it's just the players, man.
Make sure you give them $80 million to coach the Pistons.
Yeah.
Imagine looking at the Pistons franchise being like, you know where we should spend our money? Monty.
What if the Grizzlies bring in like the Giannis's offensive coordinator? They're like, show me that Giannis offense. Can you install the Giannis offense around John Conchar?
Biombo, no shooting them trees.
Oh, Biombo. Those were our worst things. Before we get to the worst segment of the program, we have a couple of listener submitted questions. The croissant questionnaire.
Patrick Kirkner asks, Nick Nurse is often drinking from a green bottle during games with the label mysteriously covered. What do you think he's drinking, Keith?
I think in this green bottle, he's drinking Surge soda.
I think he's gone back to there's a playground mentality in the Sixers. I think he's got hand grenades of Mickey's malt liquor with the dirty limerick on the cap lid. I think we're having a good time out there. Harden's gone, and it's playground time. We got between the legs hooping.
What NBA coach would you think? First of all, who would the most likely to have a flask in the game, and what would the league's response be? Would they care?
And we're going current coaches only. Because I
I mean, like
instantaneous.
I assume Don Nelson and Doug Moe and Red Auerbach. I assume
Mike Dunleavy Sr.
I assume back in the day, like right now in the day, if you go to an NBA game behind the bench, there's some guy who has like a Tupperware container full of like just chewing gum and candy and like stuff. I assume back in the day that was just filled of like those like airport shot bottles or whatever you call them. The mini bar. I assume back in the day it was just no big deal that the players and coaches had liquor on the sidelines. But really current day, what would Adam Silver's response be?
I'm sad that I can no longer say hardened private eye James Borrego. Definitely would be taking a swig. I guess he still could from the Pelicans bench.
Yeah.
I mean, Taylor is looking rough these days.
Wow, is he? I feel like his beard is immaculate as ever.
There's a light gone from the eyes. Pop. He looks like hobo wine.
Yeah,
hobo wine.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel like
not Steve Kerr.
I feel like Steve Clifford. Maybe he's like, listen, the hand I've been dealt, no one to blame me.
Yeah,
he feels like a Bud Light man though, like a Miller Lite, Bud Light kind of.
I always felt like Doc Rivers was like mere moments from his first beer.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
NBA coaches, those are big bodied dudes who need a few cold ones.
Yeah,
I mean, we're kind of shades of gray here.
I mean,
I
think
into the total darkness of James Parika.
I'm not saying we should allow people to drink alcohol on the sidelines of NBA games with the players and coaches, but I would say if we tighten the dress code, I think we could allow them maybe 1 or 2 cocktails.
Like if Chuck Daly should be allowed to have a highball wherever he wants.
If the coaches went back to wearing suits, all right, yeah, I feel like we could relax this here.
Pat Riley with a Mai Tai, fiending for some mojitos on the sideline. These would be better times, better days.
He was drinking the tequila sunrise. We know this. I think it's Surge Soda. Preferred choice of gamers everywhere. What's the next question, John? Yeah.
Similarly, Bobby Patone asks, inspired by Pop's intervention against the Clippers. Oh, yeah, that's right. Inspired by Pop's intervention against the Clippers, should coaches be allowed 30 seconds on the arena mic each game? I know it sounds like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth after spurring and scorning Pop, but yes, give every coach 30 minutes mandatory on the mic every game.
Did you misspeak? Because you took it from 30 seconds to 30 minutes.
Okay, 30 minutes sounds even better.
You're asking for a sermon.
Extemporaneous debate competition between Monty Williams and Avery Johnson, please.
Oh, man. This is not a coach, but I want Bill Kennedy to stop refereeing basketball and just have a podcast.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I just need Bill Kennedy to tell me stuff like that.
Yeah, just Bill, what happened here? This is the Kennedy shooting. What happened here, Bill?
Oh, man. If you had if you had hardcore history, but narrated by Bill Kennedy, I mean, that's millions.
Let's do the Tweedle, let's do like the Siskel and Ebert version of this, where we get Bill Kennedy and Gene Steratore.
Do any of the NFL
Alpha
refs
and the Omega?
Do any of the NFL refs have great delivery? You know who was great the other night? I hadn't really noticed his work on the on-camera, on the referee mic. Kevin Cutler. Like, he actually very twinkle in his eye. And I'm like, you could be on stage, man. Like, he also had like a very, maybe you don't stereotypically like a giant athletic man. I didn't anticipate that all of a sudden it's like, oh, I bet he has a great singing voice. I bet he could do a show tune. Like,
let's get him. And then the guy who in the NFL game said, 15 yards, he was giving him the business.
Oh, giving him the business guy. Yeah, that was great. No. And we know with the really weird Scott Foster lip syncing video, I need more talent shows from our NBA referees. That's what I need. NBA talent show, open mic referee edition. Let's do it.
I'm stupefied that we didn't get any Scott Foster, Chris Paul stuff from you.
Oh, man. Might as well talk about that right now. Chris Paul got thrown out again by Scott Foster.
It's insane.
I don't get how it keeps happening.
When one of them kills the other, will we look back on all of this and be like, we could have stopped this?
Yeah.
We could have stopped this.
It's like the cops being like, oh, man, we responded to 13 allegations of domestic violence at that address.
Yeah.
Who could have seen this coming?
This didn't have to end this way.
Chris Paul said that like his son was involved, or like Scott Foster was saying stuff. And there's the thing where what's the playoff record where Chris Paul's teams were favored in something like 16 of the 20 games that Scott Foster officiated, and they straight up lost in 17 of them or something. Like,
incredible.
It's unbelievable the things we choose to address league-wide.
We're going to look back at this and be like, look at this data.
Yeah.
Take that for data.
Tom Haberstroh has all these charts and stuff. He's just like, anyways.
When Michael Lewis gets a hold of this is going to be a book, a movie.
When Radiolab, Serial, what are the well-known podcasts called these days?
Earwolf, Ecstasy Wolf.
When Joe Rogan gets on this one, wow. Anyways, thanks for the questions, everybody. Also, thanks to our new Patreon supporters. We got CM and Sam Shaw. Thanks for signing up. If you want your question to be answered on air, if you want it to be answered, as part of the Millennial Brunch bonus episode, which we might do in the next couple of days, trying to do it before the month ends. You have to become a Patreon supporter. Do that at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. It's the best way to directly support the show. You can get the bonus episodes for just $1 a month. That rate will last until the end of the year. And we're getting rid of that tier. If you can join the Slack channel for $3 a month, and also for $5 a month, of course, playing our fantasy sports and leagues and all the stuff like that. But if you want to support the show, want to have your questions answered on air or as part of our bonus episodes, do it. Patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. All right, it is now time for the awards segment of the program, the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award, given each week to the worst performance in a box score. We have a few honorable mentions. Taylor Horton Tucker was 1 for 10. Contavious Caldwell Pope and Corey Kispert were 3 for 14. Donovan Mitchell 4 for 18. DeJounte Murray 6 for 21. Jaylen Brown 6 for 22. Those were just the honorable mentions.
Yikes.
We have 3 nominees. And I really had a lot of difficulty deciding, like, all right, I like to narrow down to 3. I like to, truly pick the ones I think are the worst. But it's like I was trying to parse between multiple DeJounte Murray games, try to decide, like, all right, is this enough attempts? But here's the thing. It doesn't matter because there's just one that rules them all. So I'm not going to worry about it. Here are the 3 nominees, and it doesn't really matter who 2 of them are. But we have DeJounte Murray, not his 6 for 21 game. We'll go with his 2 for 13 game. In a loss to the Celtics, DeJounte Murray, 2 for 13 from the field, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, 1 personal foul. Paul George, in the humiliating loss to Reggie Jackson and DeAndre Jordan, Paul George was 2 for 13, 6 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 3 turnovers, 5 personal fouls. But move aside, because earlier this week, Aaron Gordon, in a loss to the Rockets, 0 for 12. 0 for 12 from the field. 2 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 1 personal foul. John, would you like to make any comments about any of our nominees this week? Yeah. Good job, Aaron. I didn't know you had an 0 for 12 in you. No. Congratulations, Aaron Gordon.
I thought maybe Orlando Magic Aaron Gordon, the guy who shot threes, perhaps, but not play the right way, Aaron Gordon.
I mean, playing alongside Jokic, 0 for 12 is impressive. Good job, buddy. Congratulations on this week's International Stackhouse of Pancakes win. All right, John, it's not time for kudos to me. This segment named in honor of Dylan Brooks, who got 5 assists in the game and said, I'm doing a good job of sharing the ball. Good kudos to me. What is something that you got right, or that you would like to be patted on the back for, that you've said on a previous episode?
Well, there aren't many times that I'm this right, but I will say this. When you ask someone to keep watching a product, when you pick up the likes of, say it with me, Jalen Noel, say it with me, Shaq Harrison.
Yeah, preach.
I don't think you necessarily have to crow about will the fans care. And I think we have reached a point where I said pretty clearly that I think they're going to lose their crowd, and I think the Grizzlies have very much lost their fan base and their crowd. And it's going to be at this point, I think we can move on from the notion that anyone in the organization really knew what they were doing. And we got very lucky with a few picks, and that we need to hope that we can get said picks back and hope that we can rebuild from there. But there's not going to be like a moment where it's like, everything's fine, this is fixed. There's the roster's completely, the upheaval has happened, and it's going to be, it's basically a rebuilding year. We basically
it's a gap year,
a rebuilding year. Yeah, right.
So, I mean, like, everyone, like, I don't know. I'm like upset, but like, I don't know. I'm in mourning. I'm disassociating, and I'm just like,
I have not
whatever.
heard any grits and grinds this year because I cannot do it.
Sure.
Because it's just too much piling on of misery. I'm already watching the games. I can't relive them like that.
Right.
Sometimes I'm watching them again. I don't know how you're doing it. We'll just leave it that way.
I'm just gonna say, like, the Grizzlies are in a spot where they have Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., and John Morant locked up for extensions, and like, it might have worked out. The best case gap year because we failed on the rest of the roster, and so now maybe the realization, if you want to paint us silver linings, the realization that this roster's not good enough, maybe that's the silver lining.
And the kudos to me here, in case it wasn't clear, is I think it has now been laid bare that these people are fools and will have to be replaced, and someone else is going to have to be the architecture of this team.
I don't think you can say that the Desmond Bane is like an all-time draft day heist. The finding of like even Brandon Clark in the draft, the Santi Aldama, the Xavier Tillmans, where they got them in the draft, those are all like good. And then like you can't just throw away.
I'm really not ready to give anyone any credit for Xavier Tillman or even Santi Aldama. I like to laugh about Hale Santi as much as the next guy, but Santi sucks.
Well, I'm going to say picking a NBA rotation player with your 30th pick, that's good. Yeah. That's good drafting. It's not. Yeah, but he's not. Yeah, he's not better than Kyle Anderson.
I mean, the bar for just not screwing this up was so low, and they found a way.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have to do all the things we did.
And no small part of it is John Morant being suspended, and no small part of it is Steven Adams being out for the year and Brandon Clark being out for the year.
Ruptured Achilles. But at some point, somebody has to. It would be one thing if, yes, the Grizzlies are struggling, et cetera, but the Grizzlies, they might be the worst. We make all those jokes. They might be worse than the Wizards and the Pistons.
What I can't get over is how, like, when they're getting beat down by the Suns, and it's just like this, like, it's this comparison of like one team's bench / everyone available for this game. It was multiple first round picks and second round picks that guys they've been developing for years. The other team's bench / only players available for the game. Bunch of minimum contracts they picked up this offseason, just threw it together, and they just picked up a bunch of guys off the street, off the scrap heap team is better than the team that is like developing players for years.
Rudderless doesn't begin to cover it, really.
Yeah. My kudos to me, John. Jalen Suggs is who the Grizzlies front office thinks Marcus Smart is. Jalen Suggs is good, and the Magic are good.
Jalen Suggs is pretty good at defense.
Jalen Suggs is great at defense. The Magic are great at defense. The Magic are second in the East, and they are horrible at offense.
They are unwatchable.
Yeah,
they are. Mo Wagner going off the other night was especially beautiful.
The Magic are 12-5 and are good.
I think you need to give Cole Anthony his praise.
Cole Anthony's good, man. Like,
I know.
Cole Anthony can play. All these dudes can kind of play. Mo Wagner is just one of those random guys who I've always been like, that guy can score. Why doesn't any team want a guy a big 7-footer who can score? And Franz Wagner's like, hey, can they stop my brother?
Goga Batadze.
Goga Batadze's good, man.
Does Wendell Carter get his job back?
Dude. And Goga Batadze's putting up these like just nasty, like my perfect stat lines for players. Oh, you got 4 points, 4 rebounds, 3 blocks. Yeah, I love it.
What's weird is like the Magic are doing this like starting, like they'll like start Anthony Black.
Oh yeah, and he plays like 15 minutes. Yeah,
it's like very clear that like he's not ready to play, but it's also very clear. It's like, oh, they're getting him acclimated to the NBA game.
Yeah.
Like just simple, like folksy wisdom like that, almost unheard of now. Now it's all like, oh, that guy, D'Anthony Melton, he seems like a great glue guy. Get rid of him. We'll draft somebody better. We're perfect at drafting. No, this team does like folksy, old timey, Dennis Hopper drinking and Hoosiers wisdom type stuff. Let's get back to that, please. But even Jonathan Isaac sightings.
Dude, Jonathan Isaac comes in. Is he okay? The last time I saw him,
6 shots.
Yeah, he comes in, blocks a few shots, and then he falls over and holds his ankle. So the last time I saw him, I think he twisted his ankle. I don't know if he's been back in the game or not. But the Magic are pretty good, and Jalen Suggs is who I thought he was.
Do you ever find yourself looking at the bottom of the Magic roster like Jet Howard, Chumo, Kiki, and Emerald Schofield being like, those guys could probably start for the Grizzlies.
Every night, it's like, that guy's better than all our players. Anyway, par fadeaway, John, what thing are you looking forward to in the coming week? I will say before we get into it, there's a Grizzlies watch party Friday night, Noble's Beer Hall. Come drown your sorrows responsibly. 6:30 p.m. Early tip.
Oh God.
Take that Uber over to Noble's Beer Hall. I'm going to give you a lot of Grizzlies prizes. We've had good watch parties both games so far. Been a lot of people there. Like, keep coming out, man. Let's hang out on a Friday night together. Watch the Grizzlies at Noble's Beer Hall in Nashville. Anywhere, if you're anywhere near, swing by. You'll win some Grizzlies prizes, and we'll have a good time. Anyways, John, what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to you explaining to our listeners. This is going to be a personal service announcement. Explain to our listeners how they can help not have their fantasy season ruined next week.
No, I'm not going to.
You've got to.
No, I know. I'm playing fantasy basketball for money. I'm not giving away any tips.
Look, you can go ahead and do it, and then they can learn from you.
No, I'm not going to. One. No.
Well, apparently.
No, don't say it. I'm bleeping all this out. I'm cutting all this out. I'm just all right. Here you go. We'll lay some clues. Just everyone be aware of the schedule next week. Right now it's a mystery. We don't know what it even is, because my par fadeaway, the in-season tournament, the IST group play wraps up tonight, and we're going to find out what all of the schedule is next week in the NBA. But there's a lot of cool storylines. I don't care. I don't care if they forgot to name the in-season tournament, or they decided, like, what if let's just Yeah. So we got the groups, East Group A, B, C, West Group A. I don't care if they bungled some of these things. It's pretty exciting. There are 6 spots still open in the quarterfinals. The Lakers and Pacers are in, but we have, I believe it's 16 teams playing for 6 spots tonight. The Bucks and Kings and Rockets, if they win, they move on. Like the Nuggets, they've already been eliminated. We have Kings versus Warriors, huge game. I think if the Warriors win, we might end up with a 3-way tie in West Group C, where the Timberwolves and Thunder also play. I mean, Timberwolves Thunder is an amazing game on its own, but there's the added who's going to move on into the quarterfinals. Just a lot of good stuff. The Bucks and the Heat play. That's a huge game in East Group A. You got Knicks. They need to win to stay alive. Celtics, like, they could have their in-season tournament ruined by the Bulls. There's something to play for Chicago. You can beat the Celtics. Raptors can spoil the Nets' hopes. All these games on Tuesday night. I love it. I'm excited about it. So yeah, I think that's my par fadeaway. Also, here's one more final par fadeaway, John. This is a cross sport topic. Have you seen in college football, there's a Pop-Tart Bowl?
I have.
And have you seen that the Pop-Tart Bowl's mascot is going to be edible?
I have.
We're talking about a giant walking edible Pop-Tart. Have I got that part right?
I'm afraid so.
That wasn't part of one of the LSD sequences from Trolls Band Together.
No, that's happening to you.
Walking edible breakfast food. How big is it?
Wonderland.
How big is it going to be?
I'd say Hamed Haddadi sized.
Can you like slather melted butter at it? Just toss melted butter at it and go to town on top of it?
I still haven't gotten over Caitlin Cooper talking about that, so let's not bring it up.
Can we make
the best offense in the world?
Can AI make a video of college football players eat life-size, giant, human-sized Pop-Tart? I don't even need
Coach. As long as Coach Prime is involved, I'm pretty sure this is already in the works.
Amazing stuff. It's just the breakfast content.
By the way, Saturdays, I'm back. I watch college football all Saturday.
Oh no! Yes. The Grizzlies have ruined you. You're watching college football.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm channel surfing for Jefferson Pilot Sports.
Oh man,
standard definition.
Does Jefferson Pilot still exist? Have they gone over like Bally's is going to?
I think that was part of reparations. Like they're like, where this was racist.
Oh man. Anyways, that's the episode for today. If you want to support our show, do that at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. Join up with the Slack channel. Join up and get that bonus episode. If you want to try out Underdog Fantasy, use that promo code FBBF. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.